Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Recording in progress. And that's the good news. And there's more good news. I have never had an explosion of information come into my awareness like it has since about 16 hours or less. Because I asked yesterday, okay, I don't have any idea what I'm supposed to share Monday night. And so I connected. Remember that word. It is so important. Connect. We'll go into that later. So I connected and I asked, please let me know. And I didn't get anything. I finally went to bed about 3 hours later. I did get kind of the title for today. So it's just, and if you remember it, wonderful. If you don't, you're going to get more than is mentioned in the title. So, see, so however long it has been since August of 2008, I've been studying with Dr. and Master Shah. Most of you know that I was dying. I had a doctor tell me that my systems were shutting down. And my question was, because that sounded kind of serious, it's like, well, well, I see my son graduate from high school. And he said, well, when? Well, about a year and a half. And then there's that pause. And finally, it seemed like 10 minutes, but it probably wasn't. He said, well, you may not see that. And so I started kicking the walls out of my boxes because back then, if you didn't have a white coat with a name on it, followed by the initials MD, I thought you were a quack. I knew about acupuncture, but I didn't like needles. Massage, I liked that. But nothing was working. And then I met Dr. and Master Shah. And you can see some of the calligraphy. So in fact, I'll move my head out of the way. And let me just do this. That didn't help. Okay. So that one there in the middle is Dao Guang. That's the first calligraphy that I learned to write. And I'm so amazed. That was back in 2013. And then the one that is up here, that is a Henderson, and Paula may have a copy of that also, because Henderson Ohm was in Portland in 2015. And he could write calligraphy that well back then. He is a Tao Calligraphy Grandmaster. That's as high as it gets, except for Master Shah. And then the other one up here is a Master Shah calligraphy, one of the 10 of the 10 doll light wall that I have. And please do not take pictures, screenshots, or anything. That's spiritually incorrect. So tonight is about the life hacks. I love that term. But it's life hacks for the spiritual journey. It's what I have learned that literally brought me back to life. And you can tell by my voice that there's still more work to be done. I think I'm going to send an email to Francisco Quintero and say, what do I need to heal this throat issue? Because my throat has been like this and then clear and then like this again for literally 35 years. So if you have an issue that's more than a year long, it's considered, I forget the medical term for it, but it's serious. Yeah, it might go away, but then it comes back. And so what I realized about 10 years ago, so I've been with Master Shah about 16 years. About 6 years into it, I was healing really slowly because a lot of the organs and systems in my body had partially dissolved, disintegrated, especially the systems that were connecting my brain to my organs. And I began to realize that, first of all, there's a speed trick. If you let's use this calligraphy up here. I'm not going to turn on the Tao Calligraphy light wall, but just ask it for a healing, a one-time only healing. So those that are watching the webcast that are also here, you get it one time. So ask it to give you a blessing for, and name one thing. It could be getting a good vehicle, having a successful implant, having your voice clear up. That's what I'm going to ask for. So that's Da Hexie, greatest harmony. So just look at it. You may not even be able to trace it. You don't need to. You can put both hands up to it. Now, first of all, we want to connect. So you're all, those of you that are online here, know Master Sha's teachings, the original 4 powers. First of all, we say hello. We connect. That's a way of connecting. How do we do that? Dear Da Hexie, greatest harmony, I love you, honor you, appreciate you, respect. Master Sha started to use that term now. Respect you. I'm so grateful to ask for a blessing. Would you, in my case, heal my throat, my voice, and then whatever you choose to. And then thank you. So that's soul power in Master Sha's teachings. Then we want to look at it. That's visualization. But more powerful visualization is not to just look at it, but to close our eyes and imagine light inside of us. Why would we close our eyes? Because there's a concept, advanced teaching called leaky body. What's that mean? We leak our energy, our life force. I mean, that's really what it is. So with our eyes closed, imagine that whatever you're thinking about or requesting. Now, if it's something like an operation or something else being inserted, then imagine where it's going to go in the pathway as being just the purest light. And don't imagine a color. Notice what colors you begin to be aware of. And when I say aware, it may not be visual. If it's a car, then imagine your heart chakra. If it's a job, imagine your heart chakra, not your bank account, not your wallet or purse, not being at a desk or working online, but imagine light in your heart chakra, unless it's an organ or a system, unless it's something in your body. For me, I'm just imagining that my whole area, the 5th chakra, 5th soul house in Master Sha's teachings, is light, purest light. And every in-breath. Now, this is something that I received even before I met Master Sha, when I was working with another, still a student of Master Sha. We both joined later. So I call it Dear My Mind. And you may have heard it. So every inhale, connect with your mind, think of your mind, and do it. Dear my mind, I love you. You have the power to observe how my body breathes itself. Don't change anything. Do a good job. Thank you. So every inhale, we may need to repeat it. It took me about 3 months, but the energy was lower then. So, dear my mind, I love you. Observe how my body breathes itself. Don't change anything. Thank you so much. And then we want to boost the focus. We want to change our focus. Imagine that, because it's what happens. Imagine with every in-breath, you're receiving a fresh infusion of life force. That's pure light, love and light. So with every in-breath, imagine that love and light coming in. You may perceive it as coming in through every pore of your body, or some people perceive it coming down through the crown chakra. I usually sense it just appearing out of like magic, right in the middle of my chest. The heart chakra, incidentally, is not an organ. It's not physical. It's the center of our being, not just our body. Don't think about that. Just breathe. Every inhale, dear my mind, I love you. Observe how my body receives a fresh infusion of life force. So it can go into your physical heart. It can go into your heart chakra. It can go into your right thumb if you have something going on, or wherever. If it's outside of you, imagine it coming into the center of your being, your heart chakra, your message center. It's one of Master Sha's teachings, descriptions of that. Why message center? Because this is what's the best word for this? It's where all of our energy, our positive and negative information, memories, mindsets, positive and negative. So it's the message center. It's information. Those are messages. So we're changing those messages right now, or rather, we're noticing. And when we connect, when we notice, then we're allowing heaven, the Tao, with this life force to change us. We don't do it. We don't have that power. But dear, my mind, I love you. Observe how with every in-breath, I receive a fresh infusion of life force. So into your message center, or if it's an organ or a system, some part of your body, your mind. So the mind is also not brain. The mind is a field. So imagine not energy coming into your head. You can get a headache that way. Imagine it, if you want to do mind stuff, coming into your message center, your heart chakra, your fourth soul house. Now let's add one more thing to it. Dear my mind, I love you on every exhale. Turn off fully and completely for the entire exhale. Rest and recharge. Thank you so much. Never start by telling the mind to turn off. It will resist that greatly. The mind wants to do stuff. You may have heard the term monkey mind. Master Shah talks about human thinking. Same thing. So on the inhale, we're receiving a fresh infusion of life force into the area of your request. So if it's a different job, heart chakra, if it's having something placed in your body, then to that organ or area. If it's a new job, heart chakra. If it's a different car, heart chakra. If it's your throat, throat. Yes. Now, with your eyes shut, because that keeps the energy that we're receiving in. If you have your eyes open, that energy goes out. It's just automatic. I'm so grateful that I've learned See, imagine 16 years of listening to the Grandmaster of 7 or 8 different areas. Qigong, I Ching, that's not the right word. Anyway, so much. And when we're in the different trainings, many of us have notebooks and he just drops a gem. For example, none of the books mention that grief is fire element. So that's in the index of the book that Master Roger gave me in 2008, Soul, Mind, Body Medicine, because I turned to that book. But this calligraphy, Da Heshe, greatest harmony, just ask it. And if you did already, just remember that you're receiving. Why? How can that happen? All I have to do is ask. Yes, even if you don't believe. I found that to be true because I was a big skeptic. I didn't believe Master Sha for 12 years. Not really, not completely, because I had 70 years of being given incomplete, inaccurate, or false information. And finally, it's like putting more kids on the other end of the teeter-totter. Finally, the teeter-totter moved the other way. Now, I don't just trust, I don't just believe. There's this inner knowing. The mind says, human thinking. Oh man, I can't get used to the keyboard on this replacement laptop. My muscle memory is all screwed up. Oh, dear heaven, I deeply apologize for my human thinking. Dear Da Heshe, so you can ask for something else. Dear Da Heshe, could you transform my subconscious negativity, beliefs, human thinking? Thank you so much. Now, how do we get more powerful? Well, we did the soul power, the invocation, the say hello greeting, asking it to heal something. And for a moment, we held our hands out. You can still do that with your eyes closed if you want to, but you can just, more powerful, imagine light from the calligraphy coming into you. Paul Fletcher has taught stacking, how to have more impact with practices. And I just love that. After about 2 years, I realized Master Sha has been teaching that forever. One of the 4 power techniques is stacking, adding 1, 2, 3, 4, and then breathing power. I'm going to lead you on. I'm going to share an exercise that you can do in a little bit for breathing power, breath power. Breathe in and breathe out. And it's something that you can do yourself. That's all you have to do is take the Tao Calligraphy for healing and rejuvenate, to heal and rejuvenate your back. Got the book right here. It's the one that's kind of a reddish color. And I'm also going to share with you my screen because I'm going to share the video of Master Sha reading this in a practice with that. So this is much more than you might have expected. Incidentally, why is there no PowerPoint tonight? Well, it's this new computer that my muscle memory can't manage yet very well. So this is recorded. So now, after we're done, so there's another power. There's mind power. We're doing that with creative visualization. So there's sound power, and sound can be loud or it can be, yes, silent. So you can say greatest harmony silently or out loud. You can use the Mandarin if you want to. Da hush ye, da hush ye, da hush ye. You can sing it if you want to. The important thing is every one of these soul power techniques increases the power, the benefit of what we're receiving by anywhere from 10 or 20 times to hundreds of times. The more, the better. Also, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, there's 7 of us here. And so because we're in a group, if we were practicing by ourselves for an hour versus there's 7 of us here, and if we practiced for an hour, we would receive 49 times the benefit. Dr. Rillinshu, the physicist, shared with Master Shah the scientific formula for that. C equals amplitude, amplitude, anyway, I don't remember the formula right now, but what it means is the more people, it's not additive, it's not 1 + 1 = 2. It's 7 times 7 is equal to 49. So it's the square of the number of people. I was in a practice this morning and there was 307 for 40 minutes. And some of you were there too. We were practicing with the 10-Dao light wall. It was being shared by a master teacher. That equaled around 80 80 years. If we wanted to practice 2 hours a day by ourselves, that 40 minutes this morning with 307 people equaled literally around 80 years. It depends on how many minutes you counted, and it grew from 257 to 307 or 254, whatever it was. So it's the number of people times the number of minutes. But then there's more. How much do we add to it? So let's thank the Tao Calligraphy, Da Hushe, Creative Harmony, and we'll close this part. Here, Da Hushe, thank you so much. So very grateful. Please rest. And since it's on my wall, and I paid for it, yeah, it's now turned off. So now it's a pretty piece of art. So stacking. Stacking is connecting more and more and more. We add one thing to what we're doing, like if we're tracing something, if we start chanting it, then we can get 10 to 20 times the benefit. Now I say we can get, well, what do you mean? That implies that we cannot get. That's right. We will get what we're able to stay focused with, because it is our focus. If you're doing the breathing practice with your eyes closed versus open, if your eyes are open, you get about 10% of the value. because all of your mind is out there going, oh, yeah, I got that, I see that, oh man, I've got great peripheral vision. That means we drain our energy more quickly. So that's the reason for eyes closed. It's not so somebody can trick you. It's so that you don't trick yourself. Also, mantra versus affirmation. This is something I used to teach, affirmations, and just years ago, 20 years ago, yeah. Every once in a while, somebody would say, Terry, this is not working for me. And it was like, yeah, doesn't always work for me either. I didn't know why, but now I know why. There's a difference between the head and the heart. I did not know that 20 years ago. I didn't know it until around 2014 when I was reading the Soul Over Matter book. In chapter 10, Master Shah says, you can have 10 times the benefit if you chant from your heart. And so I didn't know any better. I looked down at my physical heart and I got a stiff neck after 2 weeks of this. And also, I could feel that energy in my physical heart area. And naively, I thought my chest had begun to develop muscles again, like I had when I was in my 20s, when I was lifting weights. And so I went in the bathroom and I pulled up my t-shirt and I go, oh, darn, no muscles. But my mind wanted to know what the heck's going on. And I realized it was the energy field. When we focus on something, we increase what we focus on. That's you've heard that in different ways. Ancient teachings. What you think is what you create. That's one of the first I ever heard of that concept. That was, 50 years ago or more. I forget the guy that wrote that little book. But the difference between an affirmation and a mantra is a mantra is something that is perceived, that's not thought of. It comes through independently of the mind. Affirmations are mind. Some affirmations, because some people have amazing minds, they're more connected with whatever that is. I like the term, the Hindu term, Tatvamasi, means that which is. No name. Well, it's God. Okay, sure. That's one of the names people use. That's Buddha. Well, Buddha when he became enlightened, melding with Creator. And we're doing that too. You wouldn't be here if you hadn't already done a lot of melding, because these webcasts do not appeal. You notice how few people are here? They're sent out, this invitation is sent out to 72. Those who are not here are still in the dream. The Matrix was the movie. That's another word for the dream. Well, what's the dream mean? That's what we have constructed consciously, 10%, unconsciously, 90%. So one of the most powerful things we've just been doing that when we were doing the exercise, and that is to transform the negative information in the unconscious. So head versus heart. The more we're in our heart, the more we will transform. We're on a journey that's got many names: soul journey, enlightenment, and so many more. All of these are what I've picked up that have accelerated my healing, and I then found opened up spiritual powers, whatever you want to call them. One of the biggest challenges to me, took me 3 years. My mentor, Master Roger, was, Terry, you got to do forgiveness. And so he'd been telling me this for 6 months. And I went, I am. Oops, I'm sorry. But, he just smiled because he understood. That was my inability to transform any more than I had. It took me 3 years to be able to really do sincere forgiveness practice. Now it's easy, but it's also about 12 years later with a lot of practice. So forgiveness practice is really important. And a lot of people, I did, immediately think, oh yeah, I don't want to forgive them. You're not doing it for them. Sure, they benefit. They're not getting negative information from you. But here's a couple of other things. You're not giving away your virtue by being angry at somebody or grieving. So stacking, soul journey, single versus group. I'm looking at my notes here. So there is the book that you all may have. This one. This is, oh my God, you can see that. This is Tao Calligraphy to Heal and Rejuvenate Your Back. So on page 129, it begins teaching about the chi channel, the most important energy channel in the body. Why? What makes it more important than the Jing channel or the Shen channel or the heart chakra? Well, the heart chakra gets transformed as we work with the chi channel, as we do that practice. But so does the root chakra. So does the second chakra, the third chakra. We mentioned the fourth one, the heart chakra. So does the fifth chakra, the sixth chakra, the seventh, and the Jiao that's spaced down inside the spine, down the back. Because that's what the chi channel practice does. And I think you all here know, from everybody I see here, you know the tune and the words. They're not words, actually, they're sounds. Hey hung hong shi wong yo. And I'm noticing that when I asked the calligraphy as we were doing that practice to heal my throat, my voice is better. How about that? So if you turn another page over to page 132, you will see the QR code, and then beneath it, because I don't want to put it on my phone, I want to put it on my laptop, there is the web address, tchryb dot, with HTTPS in front. So when you do that, let me see if I've got that ready to bring up. Looks like I do. So we're sharing. There's my share button. Click over there. Let's turn the sound on because we're going to use that. And then in about 5 seconds, there it was less than 5. This is that replacement computer. It's faster than the old one. So Tao Calligraphy to Heal and Rejuvenate Your Back. This is the web page. When you scroll down, you'll see Master Shah's picture and Dave Meltzer in the background, tracing Daoya Chang Shang. Now, Master Shah shared recently he drew that calligraphy for Dave because Dave said, he said, what do you want? I want more money. I just lost $100 million. That's stunning. I'm working on my second million. Um, I couldn't get the first, so I'm working on a second one. That's an old joke. So you can watch that if you're not familiar with it. But here's what's important. There's the Tao Bei. Where's my mouse? My cursor, there it is. So the Tao Bei here, source back calligraphy practice. Wonderful practice. But here's the Chi channel practice, the video. And I invite you to participate with Master Sha. So let's open it up. If you notice this little thing right down here, it turned browner. Let's see if I got the sound on.
Hey.
So breathe in.
Hey.
Now I'm going to pause because if you haven't read the book or if you don't remember, you don't know or may not remember the breathe in, breathe out practice. I am so blown away that as a Tao, well, now they've changed the name, as a Tao calligraphy light wall practitioner, I can now lead people in those practices. Did one last Thursday, did a demo for a woman at the Thursday night meeting here at the Renaissance bookstore. And she had two crushed vertebrae, lumbar number 4 and number 5. So it's just above the sacrum. And I don't remember how many years ago she said, I said, well, what's your pain level? Because we've already done a meditation. She says, what's a 3? Later on, she says, well, I tend to underestimate, so it's maybe closer to a 4. So after the blessing, I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes with the field, doing the breathe in, breathe out, and having others in the room doing the practice and seeing, sending light to her, imagining she was hearing. She was so excited. I don't have any pain. It's a 0. I said, get up and walk. She came back. I said, how you feeling? She says, I forget what her term was, something about a spiritual lift off or something. It's just an amazing healing. So what we do is we inhale for a count of 5, or with Master Sha, you just follow along with him. And when you see the light coming from the calligraphy into the different chakras, you're inhaling at that point. And then when he says, hey, or on, or whichever one it is, you imagine the light going out. So this is Shi and rather than means breathe out. So we're breathing in light. What kind of light? It's life force. It's Tao calligraphy light. It's absolutely pure. Because at that level, karma, good and bad, only exists in the 3rd dimension and the 4th dimension. But when you get up into the woo world, there's no karma. So imagine. Now, if you go, well, I don't know about that, notice that, because that's the negative information in our subconscious. I'm an expert, well, maybe not an expert, but I had so much of that negativity, that skepticism. That's what kept me from healing any more than I have. My throat, 35 years. Why? Negative stuff in my unconscious. Or shushan, if you remember that one. That's the inherited stuff. Positive, negative. So when we breathe in, and you don't, just follow along with Master Sha. Now I'm going to quit talking so we can go back and get the biggest healing Are you ready for this? I hope. Oh, and if you're watching on the webcast, it's a one-time blessing unless you have the book, then you can do it yourself. So let me scroll down and start to practice. This is about 6 minutes and 45 seconds long. And what I invite you to do, because this is part of the soul journey, if you want to get something that you do not have, we need to be aware of what blocks us. What blocks us is our ego. What's our ego? That's all that negative stuff. So notice if you're having some negative stuff in your mind. You don't have to try to change it. That usually doesn't work. It's tougher than our mind. Our mind is only 10%. Okay, practice time. Here comes Master Shah. Inhaling.
Hey.
Imagine light coming in. You can close your eyes.
Hey.
You can open them on the exhale. That's stuff going out.
Hey. 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 Hong.
Open your eyes for a minute and look at the light going from the first up to the second chakra. We're lighting up the whole channel,
Hong.
one soul house at a time. Inhale.
Hong. Hong.
You can chant along with Master Shah. Going up to the third chakra.
Hong.
Notice that column of light has grown.
Hong. 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 Hong.
Inhale, the light goes up to the fourth chakra. The central column is your Zhongmai. Nice, good, higher. Third chakra.
Sheep. 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 Sheep.
Moving up to the head.
Ye. 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 Ye.
Up to the crown chakra in a minute.
Ye.
Now.
Wo.
down, down, the Mingmen point.
Yo. 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 Yo.
Now, down to the root chakra.
黑哼哼啊，西翁哟。
Master Sha's new teaching is keep your mind in the
黑
first
哼
chakra.
哼啊，西翁哟。 黑哼哼啊，西翁哟。 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 黑哼哼啊，西翁哟。
So that's a practice that Jimena Gavino today said, I do this an hour every day. If you do it an hour every day for a month, your life will be transformed. Candidly, I have to work up to that. So the keys from that exercise is what's not been taught or written. I had to check, but I can share it. Okay, in the advanced trainings, why is this a practice to transform all life? Because each of the chakras, as we're doing this practice, you saw that column of light grow as we went from one chakra, one soul house to the next. It also will expand, but even if it's the size of a pencil, when we're chanting, hey, the energy is transforming everything in that area. When we chant home, it transforms everything there. When we get up to E in the head, transforms everything in the head. I've done a lot of head work after having 13 concussions. So for each of you, it doesn't matter what your issue is. If you're chanting, if you're practicing, if you're listening, even if you play it while you're asleep with the volume at 0, Master Sha has said, let me clear your karma while you sleep. Think about that. So these practices and the life hacks, the soul journey hacks that I've shared tonight, these are what I've picked up over the 16 years with Master Sha. I'd heard bits and pieces with other teachers in the previous 30 years or so. But even though some of them, in India, they call them the siddhis, powers, Siddhis. They're the minor siddhis. They're not the Tao transformation. I forget the Grandmaster Shah used. But we begin to be able to do stuff. I remember when I was healing in 2009 and 10, people would tell me, would you record that meditation? Because, yeah, it was so powerful. I didn't believe that. Had a lot of negative beliefs about who I was, and that's why it took me so long to trust what Master Shah was saying. Anymore, if he says something, I used to have two buckets. One of them over here was, this is true. One of them over here, this is false. And they were small buckets. Actually, they were big buckets, because I had everything in the world in one bucket or the other. It took me many decades to get to where I've got a thimble over here and a thimble over here. This is true, absolute truth. This is absolute. Everything in the middle is, I don't know. Seems like it sometimes, but, the most important thing we can do is be aware. This is a Master Shah teaching. Be aware. And Shin Wu Hua Ai, heart is not disturbed. That means it's a matter of happens. No, I'm not there. Started at times working with the keyboards or computer because my hands don't go to where they're supposed to. And I'm working with the subconscious negative, actually some of them are positive memories. It's like, okay, this is how you type. Well, now it's like, no, it's over here. Like, that doesn't feel right. So I'm working with my subconscious. I'm retraining myself. So we have to do that. And it's inch by inch. It's not fast. Last Thursday night, when that woman had literally almost an instant transformation, my mind went, well, I'll check with her the next day. And I did. No pain the whole day. I went, wow. It's possible, because Master Shah is teaching there's third dimension, fourth dimension, fifth dimension, sixth, all the way up to billions. So the third dimensional world, for example, the calligraphy that David Meltzer received was middle lotus, third dimension. And he began making millions. One of his employees said, Dave, please don't trace that anymore. We've got more business than we can handle. He kept tracing. In fact, I heard that his wife, when he would come home, she would say, he'd say, hi, I'm dinner ready? She said, did you trace today? And if he says no, she says, well, go spend 10 minutes tracing and I'll have dinner ready. It might have been ready. Oh, thank God for our life partners, whether they're in our life right now or not. Yeah. So you might have went, I don't have one. So notice the emotion with that. We have emotions about a lot of stuff, but we've got them stuffed. The only way to transform is, you've heard it. If I keep doing the same thing, I should not expect things to change. Well, that's the 10% that we're conscious of. We've got 90% in the unconscious, the subconscious. And those are huge blockages because we can't see them. We can't even be aware of them until we train ourselves. I've been training myself. Master Roger helped a lot, and Master Shah even more. So, does anybody have any questions about anything? We'll just open it up. I got another 2 hours more of life hacks. You'll have to wait for another time if you don't ask a question. All right, I'll let you try to.
I have a question. I am still not clear on what stacking is. I'm under the impression that it's doing more than one practice at the same time.
Yes. Not more than one practice. Well, it is and it isn't. So for example, you're tracing Tao calligraphy, but at the same time that you're tracing it with your hand or your eyes. Those are both legitimate. You can imagine a calligraphy brush sticking out of your navel, and you're tracing it with that. Incidentally, Master Shah says, be gentle with the movements. Don't be too exaggerated. So when we're doing the tracing, then we add chanting. So yeah, that's like 2 practices now. Well, if we've done the soul power, the say hello greeting, what do you want? That's telling Atmamasi, call it heaven or Tao or God or whatever you want. We're saying to whatever it is, this is what I want. We're telling our unconscious, our subconscious, that's what I want. So we're rewriting what's in our unconscious with the soul power. So that's like a 3rd practice, but when we do that first, and then we do, and then there's the mind power. So, if the calligraphy is there, we close our eyes and imagine light because that's much more powerful. The calligraphy will transform us, 10% of whatever we're working on. But we'll get 10 times or more the value the more that we focus internally. And yes, my mind wanders when I'm doing that. I have to bring it back. So that's a mind training, and it's part of it. When we're breathing practice with the Shi Ching Hu Joa, or with the light wall, this is such a great book. Breathing practice is stacking one more practice up. For me, it was very challenging to add more than one. And then it was challenging when I added a 3rd one. And then it's still challenging when I add a 4th and a 5th and a 6th. So that is our subconscious resistance. It's saying, I can't do that. Well, we can. We just have to transform how we unconsciously believe what we believe is possible. If we're waiting to receive something, that we've got some unconscious beliefs. Do I believe that I can really receive another insurance settlement from that car accident I had back in November 25th, 7:10 p.m., 2023? Yeah, I still got that engraved in my mind. I still have other stuff engraved in my unconscious fears. I just came to that intersection last night. I went, oops, this is that intersection. See if anybody's going to run the red light as I try to go through the intersection. So I'm working on that and other stuff. We've all got stuff. And the more that we become aware of where our blockages are. Incidentally, stop and think for a moment. That was a 6-minute 45-second with Master Shah chanting for us, clearing our karma. were you feeling, are you aware that you were feeling or hearing yourself thinking, how much longer is this going to go on? I did that for years. And so when I became aware of it, I went, well, yeah, it's going too long. Well, that wasn't true, but that was the resistance in my subconscious. So stacking, the more you can stack, the better. If you can only get 4 stacked for 10 seconds, wonderful. Keep it up, and it'll be 20 seconds. And you may think, that's not much. Is it better than it was? It's important for us to multiply the benefit of what we're doing. Now, we can practice by ourselves, but, practicing in a group, 2, 4, 6, 7 of us, we're getting 49 times the benefit of practicing by ourselves. Any group that we practice in, it's the square of the number of people times the number of minutes. The benefit just humongous. Paula, another question?
I apologize. I'm feeling really dense about this.
Wonderful,
but
good
it-
awareness. That's your subconscious blockages.
Exactly. It sounds like the 4 body, what I don't even remember what we used to call it. You put your hands where the in the sound power, mind power. Isn't that what that's what stacking sounds like?
Yes.
Am I getting, and is that right? And that's just
The
what
4 power techniques. Master
power.
Shah has been teaching stacking forever.
So
sound power is when we send the message inside and outside, because there's no inside or outside. They all exist everywhere all the time. It's like the lines 2 and 3, and the 4 lines of the fourth Tao Calligraphy. Sada Yuan Man. They're not coming right now, but it's like, Tao Light is inside me. I am inside Tao Light. So mind can't handle that. I remember when I first read it, that one in the 5th chakra. How can you focus? The 5th chakra is Da Hexie, Da Qianbei. And how can you surrender and commit? Like, wait a minute, that's contradictory. Only until the subconscious mind releases its blockages. That's what we have to do. Be aware and keep practicing.
thank you.
Thank you. When one person asks a question, that answer and the question can bring up, oh, I didn't know that. Oh, look down there. And then the answer can clear everybody's. Because we're a field, we have co-created a field. Number one, every one of us is a Tao Hands practitioner at the 1st or more levels. That's huge. There's only 7,000 of us in the world. And when we had the Tao Center here in Portland, Master Shah Tao Center in Portland, and Paul Fletcher would be leading the Tao Hands trainings. It broke my heart how many people, some would drop out, never come back after the first day. And most never came back to go through the additional trainings, ground it more. And they wouldn't respond to my emails. It's just, and I finally realized after a while, like 2 years, it's because their subconscious just said, this can't be real. I'm not that powerful. And I remembered when I first received my Tao hands, I didn't use them for 6 years because I didn't believe I was worthy. I didn't believe it would work for me. And I didn't want to look like a fool because I didn't believe. You know, I already mentioned how negative I was. I didn't know how angry or negative I was. Others knew. And were so kind to not bring it up. I received indirect teachings. That's the best thing we can do with somebody else. Like anymore now, somebody goes, blah, 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 blah. I go, you know, it would be really good for you to get to touch the button downloads. There's 14 of them, or 35 of them. It's like $14 a month. You got access 24/7. Geez. And you might want to play, I forget the name of it now. It's about the 4th level down on the left-hand side. Self-love. Yeah. That's key. That's one of the deepest healings that we can do. Because why do we have all this negative stuff inside of us? Because we got dumped on. The younger, the more impact. Now, if we tell somebody, you know, you just don't love yourself, ooh, they're gone. So it's time to close now. And we're going to have the soul marketing shortly. Starts at 9. And let me see. Oops, it's not been posted yet, but it will soon. I always check about 7 or 8:54. And if Ginger hasn't got them up yet, then I copy and paste what she's been doing. And so I leave you. Actually, I don't leave you. I can't. None of us can leave each other because we're everywhere all the time. There's no time or space. And those were just words to me until every once in a while I actually experience it. So keep it up. That could happen to you too. So I love you all. Watch the webcast. Practice the Chi channel. And your cats.